Hello, beautiful people. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. My name is Oluchi Imanu. This channel, I talk about cake business and I share tips and strategies on how you can grow your cake business, whether you're a home baker or you have a studio space somewhere you work from. These tips cut across and would help you grow your cake business. I'm an international award-winning cake artist that is based in Manchester, United Kingdom, and you're welcome to my channel. Just in case you're stopping by for the first time, hi, it's so good to have you here. Please don't make it your last. Become a part of this growing, blooming family. And you've always been here. Thank you so very much for your support. We've just hit 24K subscribers, and I am delighted. I am happy to have you here. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about wedding cakes. Yes, something interesting. Why are wedding cakes so expensive? Like, why are they expensive? Is it because? Is it just because? Because it's a wedding cake? Why exactly? Now, this is what I'm going to be talking about in this video. So something you're interested in, grab yourself a cup of wine, juice, water, whatever it is. Get yourself some popcorn, something nice to eat, something delicious to eat, relax, and I'll be right back. You're welcome back. Now, the first thing I'm going to be talking about is this planning. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort to plan for wedding cakes. Of course, wedding cakes are not just your regular cakes. You need to think of how to make up your batter. You need to think of how to calculate your batter. This is something that I've shared thrice on this channel. I've shared how to measure your batter for an 8-inch pan, a 10-inch pan, and also most recently my pillowcake pan. So that is something that you cannot put out of the wedding cake process or wedding cake planning process. You cannot just decide or do a guesswork. Oh, I'm just going to bake 3 kg. I think 2.5 kg will serve. No, no, no. It is not a thing of guesswork. You have to sit down, get a pen and a paper, and calculate. Back home in Nigeria, this was something that I used to do with my staff. Of course, they would do it. I would say, this is what we are baking. This is what height I'm looking to achieve for this particular tier. It's not cast in stone, right? So it depends on what you want. That mental picture you have, whether it's 7 inches tall, 8 inches tall, 10 inches tall, whatever it is, for each tier, or if you're doing a variation, say maybe 12 inches tall for the base, maybe you're making a 3-tier cake, 10 inches tall for the base, 8 inches for the middle tier, and then maybe 4 or 3.5 or 3 inches for the top tier. You need to have these things set. So that's part of the planning. And then comes the calculation. You would sit down and say, okay, if I'm going for a 12-inch high or a 12-inch tall base, how many kg of batter would I need to achieve this height? How many layers of cake will I take to achieve, or would I need to bake to achieve this height? Can you see all that is going into it? And I'm just teaching and I'm talking, and it sounds really easy, but there's a lot of calculation and there's a lot of planning, and there's a lot of planning that goes behind the scene into knowing what amount or what quantity of batter you're going to use for your cake. So it is not a walk in the park. It needs planning. You're also going to be talking about where you're going to buy your ingredients from, where you're going to source the things from. If you do not have the things you need for that cake, maybe your bride, the bride and the groom, or the groom has a particular specification for that cake. You need to start looking for where you will get those items, where you source them from. So there's a lot of work, there's a lot of planning that I cannot even exhaust right now. And that's why you need to factor this into your baking or your wedding cake cost. And that's why you need to factor this into your wedding cake cost. The planning is not a child's play. It's not a joke at all. So you need to take consideration of this. It takes a lot of time for you to plan the intricate details and everything that is involved in bringing together or in bringing to reality this wedding cake. So planning is key. Planning takes a lot when it comes to wedding cake. Now, the second thing is the time it takes in executing this. Right from when you start probably sketching, your consultations, your conversations with your clients, how you go about sourcing for your ingredients, the materials, and other things, and then to the baking, and then to the prepping, and then to the checking out the venue, going back and forth with your clients, getting all the details you need to get, the contract, wedding cake contract, and all of those good stuff. It would take time. And then to the actual decorating, and then the wedding setup and everything. It takes a lot of time to execute, not just regular birthday cakes. I can just quickly get my items, maybe that I've already bought or that I'm going to the mall to get, and then I bake my cake, and then I box it, let it cool, freeze it if I need to freeze it, prepare my buttercream or my fondant, and then I decorate it, and we are good to go. And it's just easy peasy, so to say, in quotes. It doesn't take so much time like the wedding cake. So the time in execution is something else. I recently made a pillow cake, and that cake took me 13 good hours. Just this is just me being humble with the time. And that is for the decoration alone. This wedding cake you can see right here, the pillow cake that I made a video about. It took me 13 solid hours to do the decorating. Of course, I was working alone. This excludes the baking. So it takes a lot of time to execute wedding cakes, and you need to factor this into your wedding cake cost, because if you don't pay yourself, who will? Do you want to just burn out? You want to go through stress and all of that just to make a cake, and you're not rewarding, you're not paying yourself adequately, you're not taking care of yourself adequately? No, this should not be so. So the time it takes in executing wedding cake orders is something that you need to actually factor it into the cost of your baking. Now, I've shared a video about your labor per hour, how you can calculate for that, and what constitutes that labor per hour. So do well to check that video so you have a good understanding of this point and what I'm talking about in this video. Your labor is not free, my dear. Your labor is not free. So you need to charge for it and cost it adequately. Include it into your wedding cake cost. And that would definitely bring the price higher. That's just it. Now, the third point is this: it takes longer time to bake. The cakes take longer time to bake. You need to bake in sets. That's if you don't have a big oven. You're baking in sets. You're baking maybe a 12 and a 6 at the same time, or you're baking a 10 and an 8 at the same time, depending on the size of your oven. It's not just like regular birthday cakes or normal cakes, normal in quotes, that you can just pop into your oven and then it comes out. You bake for hours. You bake for hours. You're baking, you're cleaning, you're baking, you're cooling, you're baking, you're preserving. If you need to drizzle alcohol over it, if it's your rich fruit cakes, or if it's just your red velvet chocolates, vanilla, you are allowing it cool, and then you're wrapping it up and then you're freezing it, or whatever method of preservation you use. It takes longer, way longer time to bake wedding cakes. This time should be factored into your baking. All right. So that's another reason. I know that it's part of the labor, but then if you just think of it, I think it's worth talking about on its own. So the time it takes is very long. You need to factor this in. Time is a very important factor in cake pricing that you shouldn't leave to chance. You shouldn't leave on the table. Always factor your time into your costing. Now, the fourth is the skill it takes an advanced level of skill to do your wedding cakes. It's not beginner level. I know that as a beginner, you would probably want to try, and there is always a first time for everything. So there'll be a first time for you to get that wedding cake done, for you to try your hands out on a wedding cake. But at some point, if you need to get exquisite cake designs, like professionally looking done cake designs, you require a good level of skill. Now, this is not beginner skill. No. For you to achieve that clean finish, for you to achieve your beautiful looking cakes, straight and nice, leveled, not tilting cakes, you need a good level of skill. And like I said, it's not beginner level. No, it's not beginner level. You need to have an advanced level of skill, at least intermediate to advanced level of skill, to be able to execute or make a wedding cake. Now, who is going to pay for the classes? Who is going to? This is not something you say, oh, I have a wedding cake. I need to take this class. I need to take this class. I need to go. It is something that you've invested in yourself and into your business over time. So you need to recoup that. Okay, you need to recoup that cost into your business. So the skill it takes for you to deliver an exceptionally beautiful cake is something that makes wedding cake so expensive. My goodness, I cannot overemphasize this. If you wanted to take chances with your wedding cake as a bride, or if you wanted to just do an anyhow kind of cake, of course you will not go to a professional. If you go to a professional, know that it's going to come with its own cost, and it will be charged accordingly. It's going to be charged accordingly, and that means you paying for that skill, you paying for the level of professionalism that comes with it, you paying for that beautiful products that you're going to get at the end of the day, and of course the service as well. So that brings me to the fifth point. The service is something that also makes wedding cakes expensive, because I will not go to your wedding and set up a wedding cake just because I feel like setting up a wedding cake. It is part of the service, and that's why bakers charge for this as well. The setup of the cake at the venue, people, bakers charge for it because it's my time. It is my time, so it's something that it's not a new thing. Bakers charge for the setting up of the wedding cake, for the setup, and then for the delivery. Let me just put these 2 points in one. So for the setup and for the delivery, of course, the cake is not going to get to the wedding cake venue by itself. You have to transport it. Here, I know that some bakers transport or some bakers charge their delivery based on the mile or mile per hour or something. I really don't know how they do it. But you charge for the delivery and you also charge for the setup. Yes, that service is not a free service. It's something that comes with or at a charge or at a price. And then some other people, let me put another point also. Another people also rent out their equipment, right? So they rent from other people. Either they rent from other people, which they have to pay for, and or they rent their own equipment to is part of the services that we provide. And you will not blame them. So it's part of a business to do. It's part of how they make money for their businesses, how they make money to keep their businesses running. So they don't just say, "Oh, I have a cake stand." This differs from baker to baker. I'm not saying it's cast in stone, please. So it differs from baker to baker. They can decide to say, "Oh, I have a wedding cake stand for rent." Because if the baker wants, they can actually just go set up the wedding cake on a table, do it nicely and all. But sometimes, if the client's request or depending on what they want, they can rent out that thing to you. So please, these are some of the things that you put together and that would make wedding cakes expensive, or that makes wedding cakes expensive. One more bonus point is this: the structuring. This is when it comes to skill, this is when it comes to professionalism, this is when it comes to time. The structuring of wedding cakes is not like your regular cakes. And I've talked about doweling a two-tier cake before. If you do not know how to dowel your cakes, to give it the right structure, to give it the proper structure, please do well to check my video on how to dowel or two-tiered cakes. People have watched the video. Thank you for the views on that video. Thank you for your support. Please don't forget to like my videos as you watch if you learn from them. And that is one thing that comes into this entire baking process. Of course, there are a lot of things that I cannot even cover in this video, but know this and know pace. Wedding cakes are more expensive than regular cakes because of all these things I've mentioned and more. And so when you're charging, don't just charge. Of course, there are so many other things involved, but I hope that this video would do justice to this topic and would help enlighten you going forward and how to charge for your wedding cakes. And that you shouldn't leave things on the table. Charge for everything. Put all you need to put, your time, your labor, your ingredient, the number of tiers, your work, and all of that, the delivery, the setup. Please do not forget all these things when you're costing for your wedding cake. I hope that this video has been of value to you. Please don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you are yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd love to have you here. I'd love to see you. Also, drop me a kind comment. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments and I will be available to respond to you. Thank you so much. Yes, my children asked me to tell you that I should let you know that I'll make videos every week now. I used to make videos like 3 times every week when I started, but now things have changed, times have changed, and I no longer have the luxury of time. So I'm just struggling to keep up with content making. So please bear with me. But they asked me to let you know that this is what's supposed to be done. And I said I've told you, but they said I should say it. I'll be making videos for you every week. Right now, I cannot say if it's 1 or 2 times a week, but definitely you will have videos from me every single week by God's grace. Thank you so much for watching. Until I see my next video, stay happy, stay safe, and stay blessed.